The most profound truth in any healthy, long-lasting relationship is this: true love begins with loving yourself. Far too often, we confuse love with perfection or the need to fit into someone else's expectations. But the essence of love is acceptance, genuine, unwavering acceptance of who you are, flaws, imperfections, and all. Loving yourself means recognizing that you are enough just as you are, without needing to change or become someone else to gain approval or admiration from others. When you begin the journey of self-love, the entire world shifts. No longer are you desperately seeking validation from the outside or trying to squeeze yourself into places and relationships where you don't truly fit. You stop bending yourself out of shape to please others or to meet arbitrary standards. Instead, you embrace the freedom that comes with being authentically yourself. You radiate an inner confidence and peace because you finally understand that your worth is not contingent upon someone else's validation. It comes from within. Your worth is intrinsic and uncheckable, built upon a foundation of self-acceptance. Self-love is not about being selfish, nor does it mean disregarding others. It is about having a profound understanding of your own value and respecting yourself enough to set boundaries that protect your mental, emotional, and physical well-being. Practicing self-love means prioritizing your own needs and well-being, even if it feels uncomfortable or goes against the expectations of those around you. It's about speaking your truth with courage, even when it's difficult. It means acknowledging your emotions, honoring your needs, and asserting your desires without fear of judgment. When you truly love yourself, the pressure to be perfect in someone else's eyes disappears. You no longer feel the need to be someone you're not just to be liked or accepted. The right person will love you for the real you, not for the version of yourself you pretend to be. You no longer have to prove your worth because you've already accepted it within yourself. When you walk into a relationship knowing you are complete on your own, you open the door to love that is built on respect, mutual understanding, and authenticity. Self-love is the cornerstone of any healthy relationship. It allows you to give love freely, without fear of losing yourself or being taken advantage of. When you know your worth, you attract relationships that reflect that. You no longer settle for less than you deserve, because you know you are deserving of all the love, kindness, and respect the world has to offer. Authenticity in a relationship goes far beyond simply being honest in your thoughts and actions. It's about showing up fully as yourself, unfiltered, vulnerable, imperfect, and real. It means allowing someone to see the parts of you that you might usually hide, the fears, the insecurities, the mésalliances, and even the scars. When you love someone with authenticity, you're offering them the chance to love the real you, not a polished version, not an idea of who you think you should be, but the person you truly are. What makes authentic love so powerful is that it lays the foundation for deep emotional connection, mutual respect, and unwavering trust. In a relationship where both people feel free to be themselves, there's no need for masks or performances. You don't have to worry about being too much or not enough because you are loved as is. And in turn, when you are secure in your own truth, you become more accepting of your partner's flaws and complexities as well. You're not trying to fix them or mold them into something else. You're simply choosing to love and grow together. True intimacy comes from this place of radical honesty. It doesn't mean the relationship will always be smooth or conflict-free. But it does mean that both of you can face challenges as a team, knowing that you're being met with honesty and acceptance rather than pretense or fear. It's in the space of authenticity that real love flourishes, not because it's perfect, but because it's real. However, none of this is possible if you don't first learn how to love yourself. When self-love is missing, love from others can feel conditional, foreign, or even uncomfortable. You might constantly question why someone cares for you or feel like you have to earn their affection. Deep down, you might believe you're not worthy of being loved just as you are. That belief will always keep you from fully receiving or trusting. But when you are rooted in self-love, everything changes. You no longer seek love to fill a void, to validate your worth, or to fix what's broken. Instead, you share love from a place of wholeness. The love you give becomes more generous, and the love you receive feels more genuine, because you finally believe that you deserve it. Authentic love is not about losing yourself in another person. It's about being fully yourself and letting the other person do the same. It's about creating a space where both people can grow, heal, and thrive, not despite their imperfections, but because of the way those imperfections are met with kindness and understanding. In the end, love doesn't ask you to be perfect. It simply asks you to be real. When love is based on fear, it becomes conditional. Many people step into relationships carrying silent, unspoken fears. Fear of being alone, fear of not being good enough, fear of abandonment, of rejection, of not being truly seen or accepted. These fears, though deeply human, often linger beneath the surface, shaping how we show up in love without us even realizing it. And while fear in itself isn't inherently bad, it can serve as a form of self-protection. When it becomes the foundation of a relationship, it creates a fragile structure that's easily shaken. A relationship built on fear rarely feels secure. Instead of being a source of comfort and connection, it can turn into a place of anxiety, doubt, and emotional instability. When fear drives love, it distorts it. Love becomes conditional, cautious, and defensive. You may find yourself constantly worrying if you're enough, overanalyzing every word or action, or even suppressing your true self just to keep the other person. You may cling to the relationship not because it brings joy, but because the thought of losing it feels unbearable. Fear-based love often manifests as control, jealousy, manipulation, or emotional dependency. One or both partners might begin to act from a place of insecurity, using tactics, sometimes subtle, sometimes overt, to avoid perceived threats. Instead of growing together, both individuals shrink into patterns of self-doubt and emotional survival. The relationship becomes less about love and more about maintaining a false sense of safety. This kind of dynamic is exhausting and ultimately unsustainable. Love that is fueled by fear depends heavily on outside validation, on how attractive you are, how often you're reassured, or how well you meet expectations. The connection becomes transactional, where affection is earned rather than freely given, and any change in circumstance can threaten the relationship's survival. In this kind of love, you are always performing, always striving, never resting. This is why self-love is not just a nice idea, it's an essential foundation for any healthy, lasting relationship. When you truly love and accept yourself, you no longer enter relationships from a place of desperation or lack. You don't need someone to tell you that you're worthy, beautiful, or lovable, because you already believe that to be true. This kind of self-assurance shifts the entire dynamic of how you love and how you allow yourself to be loved. You stop chasing affection and start attracting connection. When you are grounded in self-worth, you don't internalize your partner's moods, opinions, or behaviors as reflections of your own value. You're able to set boundaries, communicate openly, and walk away from what doesn't serve your growth. You begin to understand that a relationship is not about completion, it's about complementing each other. You're not looking for someone to fill a void, but for someone to walk beside you as you each continue to evolve. In this space, love becomes a shared experience of growth, trust, and mutual respect. You no longer view your partner as the source of your happiness or identity, but rather as a person with whom you choose to share your life authentically and wholeheartedly. There's freedom in this kind of love, a freedom to be yourself, to speak your truth, to take up space without fear of being too much or not enough. True love is not born from fear. It's born from wholeness. From two people who know their worth, who have faced their fears, and who choose each other not out of need, but out of deep respect, admiration, and genuine connection. The danger of losing yourself in a relationship. Romantic relationships can be one of the most beautiful experiences in life. They offer companionship, intimacy, support, and the thrill of connection. But if we're not mindful, that beauty can become blinding. We might get so caught up in the desire to make things work, to keep someone close, or to fit into the mold of what we believe love should look like, that we begin to disappear into the relationship itself. One of the most subtle yet dangerous dynamics that can develop is the loss of self. It doesn't always happen dramatically or all at once. Often it's a quiet, gradual unraveling of who you are. You start by making small compromises, skipping your weekly art class because your partner doesn't see the point, biting your tongue when you disagree to avoid conflict, saying yes when you want to say no. And over time, these small silences turn into a lifestyle. The lines between you and them blur, and suddenly your identity becomes wrapped entirely around the relationship. Maybe once you had dreams that lit a fire inside you, career goals, creative passions, personal values. Maybe you loved writing, hiking alone in the woods, or getting lost in books. Maybe you used to spend hours talking about social causes, or you were saving to travel the world. But somewhere along the way, those pieces of you got pushed to the side. Not because anyone forced you to necessarily, but because it felt easier to align with your partner's rhythm than to stand on your own. Slowly, the version of you that existed before the relationship begins to feel like a distant memory. And the scariest part, you might not even notice it until one day you look in the mirror and don't quite recognize the person staring back. Losing yourself in a relationship often comes from a place of love, but also from fear. Fear of rocking the boat. Fear of being too much. Fear that if you don't bend, you might break what you've built. But love that asks you to abandon who you are isn't really love. It's codependence dressed up in affection. And no matter how much comfort it offers in the short term, it eventually leads to a deep sense of emptiness. Because the truth is, when you suppress your own voice, when you dim your light to let someone else shine brighter, you're not only being untrue to yourself, you're also depriving your partner of the opportunity to love the real you. The relationship then becomes based on a version of you that isn't whole. A version that's curated and molded to fit what you think your partner wants. Over time, this disconnect breeds resentment, confusion, and quiet heartbreak, not just for you, but for the other person too. A healthy, loving relationship should never require you to abandon your sense of self. It should amplify it. It should give you the space and encouragement to explore who you are, to grow into the fullest version of yourself. In a balanced relationship, love becomes a sanctuary where individuality is celebrated, not sacrificed. You feel free to speak your mind, pursue your dreams, maintain your friendships, and continue evolving not apart from your partner, but alongside them. The strongest partnerships are not built on enmeshment, but on mutual respect for each other's individuality. You bring your whole self, your partner brings theirs, and together, you create something even greater, not by losing yourselves in each other, but by finding strength in the space between you. So if you've ever found yourself wondering, who am I outside of this relationship? That's not a question to fear, but an invitation to come home to yourself. To remember what makes you feel alive. To rediscover the things that inspire you. To honor your own voice, even if it trembles at first. Because the right person won't want you to shrink or disappear for their sake. The right person will want to know you, all of you, and will stand beside you not in possession, but in partnership. Embracing self-worth and setting boundaries. One of the most vital, yet often overlooked, components of a healthy relationship is the ability to set and maintain clear personal boundaries. When people hear the word boundaries, they sometimes imagine cold, rigid walls that create distance between partners. But in truth, boundaries are not barriers meant to separate. They are bridges that help preserve a sense of self while allowing love, trust, and respect to flow freely between two individuals. Boundaries are how we teach others to treat us. They define what we are comfortable with, what we value, and what we need in order to feel safe, respected, and emotionally fulfilled. Without boundaries, it becomes far too easy to fall into patterns of overgiving. People-pleasing or self-abandonment, all in the name of love. But love without boundaries is not love rooted in mutual respect. It is love built on sacrifice, and over time that can breed resentment, burnout, and disconnection. Setting healthy boundaries in a relationship is an act of self-respect and, by extension, an act of love. It communicates, "This is who I am. This is what I need. And I trust that you care enough about me to honor that." Boundaries are not about control or rejection. They're about clarity and protection. They help us show up as our full selves rather than a diluted version crafted to keep the peace. For example, a boundary might be as simple and as powerful as saying no when something doesn't sit right with you, even if your partner has a different opinion. It can mean carving out time for yourself to rest, recharge, or pursue your own interests without guilt or justification. It might be asking for space when you feel emotionally overwhelmed, or being honest when something your partner says or does hurts you. It could be about the way you communicate, the level of emotional labor you're willing to take on, or how you balance personal goals with shared responsibilities. These are not acts of selfishness, they're acts of self-preservation. And when practiced consistently, they create a healthier dynamic where each person feels seen, heard, and respected. Boundaries also play a crucial role in preventing the emotional erosion that occurs when one partner loses themselves in the identity of the other. Without them, we may unconsciously begin to reshape our values, suppress our voice, or silence our needs just to keep the relationship intact. We may begin to think that love means constant compromise, or that being close to someone requires giving up parts of who we are. But that's a dangerous illusion. Love does not demand that we vanish, it asks that we show up fully and authentically. When both people in a relationship have clear boundaries, something beautiful happens. There is mutual respect not only for the relationship, but for the individuals within it. There's space for autonomy, for self-expression, and for honest communication. Arguments become less about power struggles and more about understanding. Time apart is not a threat, but a way to stay grounded in self-awareness. And decisions, both big and small, are made with consideration for both partners' needs, not just one. The healthiest relationships are not those where two people merge into one, but those where two whole, self-aware individuals come together and choose to grow alongside one another. They don't ask, "What do I need to give up to be loved?" But rather, how can we love each other without losing ourselves? In the end, boundaries are what allow love to flourish without fear. They are not the opposite of intimacy, they are what make true intimacy possible. Because when you know who you are and you honor that truth, you invite others to do the same. And from that place of mutual authenticity, trust, and freedom, the strongest and most fulfilling relationships are born. True love follows when you love yourself. Ultimately, the key to attracting and maintaining true love lies in your relationship with yourself. When you love yourself, you set the stage for a love that is real, lasting, and fulfilling. You become magnetic not because you are perfect, but because you are authentic and unapologetically yourself. True love doesn't demand that you change who you are. It accepts you as you are, flaws, quirks, and all. The right person will love you not because of who you pretend to be, but because of the person you already are. And when you love yourself, you'll attract someone who sees your worth, values your uniqueness, and respects the boundaries you've set. Conclusion: be the best version of yourself. You don't have to change to deserve love. You simply need to be yourself. Love yourself first, and true love will naturally follow. It's not about being perfect, it's about being authentic. It's about knowing your worth and never settling for anything less than the love and respect you deserve. If you find yourself in a relationship where you feel like you have to be someone else, take a step back. Reflect on who you are and what you truly want. Are you living in alignment with your true self, or have you lost your way in the pursuit of love? Remember, love is meant to enhance your life, not diminish it. So love yourself enough to be yourself. True love will follow. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.